So guys, quick disclaimer before I start this video. I know this is hugely overdue. I was actually meant to get this video out about a month ago or so. I have been sick for the past 2 weeks, but I stumbled upon this on my PC and I was like, hold on, I should get this video out there. I've made some really good points. And even after the gameplay trailer, there's a lot of points that obviously haven't been covered because it's gameplay focused, not story focused, which is good. So I hope you guys can really find something from this and, somewhat useful and informative. Now I do talk about in this video because it's pre-recorded. I recorded this, I don't know, about a month ago or so, about a part 2. So I think I will make a part 2, but what I'll do is I'll combine the recent gameplay with the older gameplay and to try to really just cling on to any sort of useful information, whether that's gameplay or story based, and to just really talk about it. But anyway guys, that's enough of me rambling. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Thanks. Hey guys. The Gamescom opening night live showed us some awesome games with a powerful conclusion from Hideo Kojima's panel. We got 2 new character trailers for Mama, Deadman and the Bridge Baby, as well as a gameplay trailer. Since there's so much to discuss and analyze, I've decided to divide this into a 2-part series analysis. This video will cover the characters' trailers, so let's get started with the Mama trailer. The trailer begins with Sam entering what's called a lockout zone, while the Rockabye Baby track is playing, which quickly follows up with a baby mobile spinning featuring rainbow silhouettes of whales, octopuses, fish and stars. After suddenly leading to a power outage, Sam's Bridge Baby alerts him of a nearby BT which reveals baby handprints and crying. Note how although the handprints build up, the BT remains in the same position. Also, note how the BB kit can act as a flashlight. I'm sure this feature will be used throughout dark settings for eerie atmospheres, or maybe a minigame called Catch the BT, that would be kinda cool. You can briefly see a snowy environment outside, which looks similar to Hartman's location. He likely traversed through high snowy mountains to get to her. Maybe due to this she isn't too far from Hartman's location. It could also be most of the bridge's facilities are based near each other, hence the snowy biomes reoccurring. So we'll likely be doing cargo delivery based missions for her. Sam's Carol allergy symptomizes into crying but is quickly met with Mama who assures Sam she is friendly. She refers to him as Sam and is glad that he made it, implying they briefly know each other already. I noticed interestingly from this point forward, Sam's tears stopped. I know his tears aren't directly started by holding his breath either, so this is up for theorizing. Although his BB remains to alert Sam, this may be because it's directly the BB that alerts him. After all, the device is powered by the BB. It may not be smart enough to understand the child is not a threat. I also noticed how the background shows a broken down road-like area. This would make sense after the Death Stranding architectural repairs as the last concern. It seems she has her facility based below a road in this case. We can view automated machines working which confirms Mama is some sort of scientist, not to mention the different BB-like device she has. The BT approaches Mama and then she begins to cradle her, notably in a breastfeeding position. We can clearly see Mama's BT spotter is much more advanced than Sam's, not just because of its appearance, but the fact that it doesn't recognize her child as a BT. Granted, the child isn't a threat to her, so it may be altered to cater to her. But maybe an advanced system that is later upgradable for Sam via Mama. After all, Kojima did say these characters play in the main story, but do have their own side stories too. In this case, if we go with this theory, to serve Bridges and Sam in BT technology is the main story for her, and her side story, her relationship with her BT child. Who knows, maybe we'll explore this through side missions or even post-game DLC. That'd be amazing. I noticed Mama didn't have any wedding ring. My guess is her family was similarly affected like Hartman's, and likely lost her husband due to the events of the Death Stranding. Mama then sends her child up who returns the lights which leads to baby handprints on her neck. Again we see these handprints even though the child is in her arms. Note how the BT child could control electricity, which reminded me of Higgs who can control BTs through his golden mask, which seems to be imbued with electricity. As the light goes back on, a monster truck like vehicle is shown with the letters STD and Bridges logo etched onto it. The letters could just simply be the model number of the vehicle. And first time in a trailer, it's been confirmed that she does indeed work for Bridges, although most of us already knew that. With all this considered, we might be able to use this vehicle, which she would upgrade. This would make sense from a traversal standpoint, as it is an open world. Mama says although she cannot breastfeed her child, the motion helps with the pain. The child likely believes she is being fed too, hence the sudden crying of the child when Sam arrives. Similar to how BBs are treated, more on that in the Deadman and the BT part. Sam, understandably in shock, asks what she is, to which Mama without hesitation says she is her daughter and that she is her Mama, pointing out that she does not see her daughter any differently despite the fact that she is a BT. Also confirms that BT do have genders like on Earth and aren't just simply of humanoid form. Mama assures her child is only connected to her and not like the other BTs, implying BTs are connected to multiple entities. My guess, Higgs, the Homo Demons and the giant figure, which was again created by Higgs. But why is this a concern, I wonder? Mama explains she cannot leave the area as she is hooked up to the BT umbilically. Kojima further explained upon this, stating her child was born on the other side, hence why she was born a BT. This also implies Mama was on the other side. As far as we know, the only way you can get on the other side is by dying. In that case, it seems she has a similar ability to Sam's, where she could come back after death. Also, why can't she leave? Is it due to the location restriction or the length of the umbilical cord? My guess is the location, but imagine where her child could be born on the other side, which could be also the reason for her not being able to move. Also, the way she says "now you know why I can't leave" seems as if they spoke before, as I mentioned previously. Maybe she was hiding her child from Sam? In the start of the trailer, she refers to him as Sam and says she is glad he made it. They were likely either communicating holographically via the terminals, or Bridges told her about Sam and vice versa. Maybe he was trying to get her out to meet, but she couldn't explain. Now, on to Deadman and BB's analysis. The trailer begins with Sam hastily entering a Bridges facility asking for Deadman's help. On the automated door behind him we can see a unique number. This number is likely exclusive to this Bridges facility. There are most likely facilities of the same nature scattered around the world, as the BB incubator mechanic is notably very important. Think about it like synchronizing hubs. However, more on this later though. On the door we can also read static sensitive contents, which essentially means that the facility could be damaged by common static electricity around Sam and his equipment, hence why we don't see any cargo equipped on him, as he probably had to unload it outside. Although it is very hard to see initially, on the bottom right side of the screen we can briefly see the Kojima Productions logo on a cup, which isn't the first time Ludens has been indirectly referenced. Deadman asks to connect the pod to the incubator. Now I do want to make a quick distinction. The pod and the incubator are completely separate, so when Deadman was talking about it, keep that in mind. Anyway, the incubator illuminates, which starts to breathe yellow and red. This also reveals three texts vaguely. Check trance connection. Trance of course means when someone is not fully conscious and not able to move, which makes sense in this context. This would seem to be lit when the BB is in need of assistance, as in previous trailers it is not lit up. One very interesting observation I made was Higgs's BB is constantly red, meaning he hasn't been taking care of it. However, this would make sense, as I believe he stole it from Emily, as he has seemed to kidnap her, but also likely doesn't have access to the chiral network, nor knows of the BB's still mother. However, we will talk about this later down the line. The second message reads as flip up toggle to open up case cover, which is a little sad, but I will talk about this more in the end of the video. The last text reads as check trance connection before systems power on, which would mean if it isn't lit red, it isn't in need of synchronization. Deadman explains the BB is in a temporary state of excessive stress, which can easily be fixed if the BB is returned to the mother's womb. Sam is unaware of this. Deadman explains she is located in Capital Knot City ICU, however she is brain dead, to which Sam corrects him saying still mother. This confirms that Edge Knot City is located west on Earth, specifically America and not the world of the dead. Here's why. In the gameplay trailer we are forming connections in hopes of finally ending up at Capital Knot City, not being the last location. I also have an observation about the city's name. Note how it's not. This is because its strands are knotted away from the rest of society, causing a disconnection, which has deliberately been picked by Kojima. Here's when we finally find out how BBs have the ability to see BTs. He explains the still mother's womb allows the BT to connect to the other side of the world, which in turn they exploit to spot BTs here on Earth. If the mothers are half dead, maybe their soul is transferred to the world of the dead, which would explain this in more detail. As for what the definition of still mother means is unconfirmed, however, we can make some educated assumptions. Firstly, a stillborn child is a child that dies after 20 weeks in a pregnancy cycle. Based off of this, we could assume it's switched and the mother dies. However, we run into a bit of a problem with this theory. Hartman notably says brain dead, not dead, implying she is alive, however has lost all neurological functions. Remember also how he said ICU? The ICU is a facility for people under critical conditions, which again confirms she isn't dead. Therefore, based off of this, I believe still mothers are mothers of BBs who have lost all neurological functions. Whether the execution of the BB leads to this, or is extracted to save the BB, is unconfirmed though. Deadman further explains these pods, not the incubator, were designed to simulate the conditions inside the womb to deceive the BB. Kids are dumb, am I right? On a quick side note, notice how Deadman goes through the windshield, and later on even through Sam, which leads me to believe he's a hologram. Sam doesn't seem bothered by this anyway. Or as his name suggests, is dead but reanimated as a holographic image maybe? Kinda like Mimir from God of War to help us out through our journey. Or it could be that they're just communicating through the chiral network though, which we'll talk about later in the second part of this series. Deadman explains how BBs cannot function without the pods, also adding this deception lasts temporarily. As it's a simulated environment, the environmental data from the still mother's womb, located in Edge Knot City, must be updated as it changes, which is done through the system dubbed the chiral network. This will notably be the core of the game, allowing to expand your connections throughout the world, which I'll expand much more on in the part 2 gameplay video. We have been shown the gameplay scene from when we're updating the environmental data for the BB in the release date trailer though. This is what it will typically look like. By using the incubator, the stress levels are lowered with the BB, however he also adds he'll adjust the oxytocin dosage, which should lead to the autotoxemia to set in slower. Oxytocin is commonly referred to as the love hormone, responsible for behaviours such as love, which would explain the random hearts that have popped out from the BB before. Each time we'll update via the chiral network, we'll likely strengthen our bond with our BB. Autotoxemia is a poison the body produces which has symptoms of depression and many other types of body pains, hence why the BB was feeling unwell. From a gameplay perspective, when the BB breathes a heart bubble, it is happy and well, and when the caution message displays a chiral network update is needed, which could affect the bond level if this is a variable that of course exists. Without continuously updating the data in turn would mean the inability to progress through early on, as of course BBs are what spot BTs. This is almost like a survival mechanic similar to a health or a food bar. Again, I'll go more in depth about this in the part 2 video. Although I have a quick theory revolving BBs and cliffs surrounding the heart bubble. Since BB is replaced after a year due to their natural weaknesses sustained upon extraction from their mother's womb, I believe a BB was ready to be killed off when Cliff, a researcher from what it seems because of his attire, killed the person and saved it, or maybe he also worked for Bridges and had his own personal BB. This would explain the heart bubble the BB breathes, as this is a bond developing between the two. That, or he broke into the Bridges facility and either saved the BB from being disposed, or stole it. But again, there isn't much to support this, but I really like this theory and wanted to get it out there just in case it's true. Deadman lastly urges that the BBs are just equipment and he should avoid becoming attached to his. The process of extracting the BB from their still mother's womb results in an unpredictable behaviour and susceptibility to failure. Deadman says due to this no BB has been in service for over a year and his BB may need to be retired before his expedition. Note, not even after, meaning Sam's isn't on a good start. Sam urges is there no way to save his BB? Note the word choice of my and its tone, which suggests he's already growing attached to his BB and doesn't see it merely as equipment. Deadman finally says BB research is still very premature, yes, pun intended, and perhaps as the chiral network expands and past data is recovered, maybe answers will be revealed. I have another quick theory, this time around Sam and the BB. In one of the trailers we saw Sam crying while holding a child which is attached to him umbilically. People were theorizing this was his child he lost. I believe this adds upon this theory. Here's how it goes. The woman that we saw which is pregnant in the picture with Sam and the president is Sam's wife. Sam lost his child which became a BT like Mama's daughter, which would explain the small BT handprints we saw which are the same in the Mama character trailer. If we assume this, the beach scene would come after his meeting with Mama, otherwise he would know her child is a BT. But the other theory which is a bit tweaked and makes more sense is that Sam grew attached to his BB and had to face overwhelming sorrow after its inevitable doom, hence why Deadman urges Sam not to get attached to his BB, as he knows he'll suffer in the near future. Notice in the scene how Sam does not shed a tear when the child becomes a BT or even when he is holding him, just like Mama's child which is a BT that doesn't induce tears. A few things to note are, I get this strong feeling Bridges are not the pioneers of BB technology, as Deadman is unaware of whether they can even be saved. Also note how he says recover past data. Of course if they were the creators and the chiral network was even crippled down, they would still be aware of the research as they would have been the creators, so that wouldn't matter tremendously. Relying on the expansion of the chiral network strongly implies that they are building upon what seems to be a foundation pre-built by someone else. Upon the BB itself there are a few details worth mentioning. As I mentioned the red light before, here it's blue, so blue is a stable state. There is a mysterious appearance of a rainbow which isn't the first time we've seen a rainbow, but here it's in the shape of a circle and includes 3 colours, red, yellow and green. Very early on I mentioned one of the 3 messages on the BB scene dubbed flip up toggle to open up case cover. What this likely means is when a BB's lifespan is nearing its end, this is the means it's extracted to replace it. That about covers my first part analysis, hope you guys enjoyed. As always feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below as I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Stay tuned for part 2, thanks for stopping by.